The New York Mets, they continue to move through spring training, but now they have to deal with another injury, this one to their catcher, Francisco Alvarez. We're going to talk about it with New York Post Mets beat writer Mike Puma, who joins me now from Port St. Lucie, Florida, enjoying that sunshine. Mike, how you doing?
Dexter, I'm doing well.
Glad you were well. Mets fans not doing so well because they learned that Francisco Alvarez, he's expected to be sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks due to a fractured hamate bone in his left hand. How significant is this loss for the Mets, and what challenges does this present for the team's lineup and defense?
Yeah, it certainly hurts, obviously, and it's the second straight year they're going to be without Alvarez for a significant stretch. You know, you look at last year, he went down in late April, tore a thumb ligament, rounding the bases, needed surgery. He missed, 7 weeks, and the Mets didn't play well with him sidelined, and they really kind of hit their stride after he came back. Offensively, we were looking forward to seeing what Alvarez's new swing would bring this spring. He made some adjustments, hired a swing coach in the offseason. We really didn't get enough to see enough of that. And, of course, behind the plate, the pitchers love him, just the amount of energy he puts into learning what these guys, the preferences of these pitchers and what they want to do out there, and his enthusiasm for it all. So this is going to hurt. Luis Stearns is a solid backup, but now he's thrust into an everyday role here, and you have Hayden Sanger and Jackson Reeves, Chris Williams, some guys with not a lot of major league experience as your backup options.
Yeah, big drop off there, and we'll see how Alvarez is when he returns. Definitely a huge blow for the Mets offensively in the lineup and also defensively and how he handles that starting rotation. Speaking of the starting rotation, Mike, Clay Holmes, he's transitioned from the bullpen to the starting rotation this spring. He had himself a great start on Sunday, right? Struck out 8 batters in 3 2/3 innings. How has he adapted to this new role, and what have been the early indications of his performance so far as a starter?
Yeah, he's looked good. He still hasn't allowed an earned run this spring in the Grapefruit League. Today, 3 2/3 innings extended to 67 pitches. One thing he talked about was he really didn't have his sinker going for him early, and that kind of forced him to depend on other pitches. He took out his changeup, got some swings and misses with the changeup. He was happy about that. But one thing, beyond the obvious physical aspect of building up from a reliever to a starter, needing to be able to last deeper into the game, he talked about now, the mental part of it, about going multiple times through the lineup against the opposition and kind of knowing what their swing preferences are and what they're going to be. That's going to be a challenge here for Holmes. It's just getting through that lineup the second and third time through, because as a reliever, you just go out there 1 inning, maybe 1 inning plus, and you just let it all loose, and there's got to be a little bit more nuance now as a starter.
Yeah, there is, and that is definitely an adjustment for him. But so far off to a good start. Only spring training, but looking good so far. Last thing for me here, Mike, we know about the injuries to pitchers in the starting rotation like Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas. How is the Mets starting rotation shaping up right now? Who are the leading candidates to fill the final spots in this rotation with those 2 guys out?
Yeah, it's still the rotation depth that we've talked about with Tyler McGill and Paul Blackburn, Griffin Canning. They'll fill the spots internally. Guys like Brandon Sprout and Blade Tidwell certainly made an impression in Major League Camp. 2 highly touted pitching prospects, but for now, it'll come from within, and we'll see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. I still think McGill has the highest upside, but he also has minor league options remaining, so he can be sent back to Syracuse, whereas Canning and Blackburn don't have those minor league options.
We'll see what the Mets do with those final couple of spots, if it'll go to Tyler McGill or if it goes to Canning or Blackburn. Very interesting to see how that plays out. Also, to watch how the Mets fare without Francisco Alvarez, who will be out 6 to 8 weeks with that broken bone in his hand. That is Mike Puma enjoying the fantastic weather there in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Mike, always good to see you and talk some Mets baseball. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.